This is Current Invective. I'm Steve Fournier. It's February 1st, 2022. I'm in Hartford, Connecticut. I'm reading. War Cravings. The mass media seem to speak with one voice on issues involving Russia. Putin is Russia, they holler, and he must be destroyed or he will conquer Europe and the USA. An invasion is imminent. Invasion has been imminent for months, in which Russians have said over and over that there would be no invasion. You might think the media would acknowledge at some point that invasion is and has been at all times unlikely and definitely not imminent. Instead, they effectively altered the meaning of imminence. Do the mass media crave war? There's no question that they and their sponsors make huge amounts of money on conflict and fear. Nervous consumers are easier to shake down than confident citizens, and war, from the U.S. standpoint, is certainly a shakedown. We send men and equipment 7,000 miles from home to terrorize foreign populations with expensive bombs and bullets. They don't win battles. They don't capture territory. They don't liberate oppressed populations. They destroy people and property, and eventually they declare victory and bug out for new places. The point seems to be not to win anything, but to consume material resources that we purchase at inflated prices from rich people. The bloodshed seems to be incidental. It's not clear that we Americans actually support this, even as the mass media endorse it. Not particularly reliable news is a good example of media endorsement of our permanent state of war. NPR gives General McMaster's the microphone to lecture us for several minutes on why we ought to kill Russians on behalf of Ukrainians. Most of his arguments are based on lies and opinions, but there is no rebuttal, no challenge, no reminder that his troops have been chased out of Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, Libya, and other distant lands by ill-equipped peasants, and are currently surrounded by hostile forces in remote outposts around the world. It seems obvious that he and his sponsors and endorsers have neither hope nor prospect of victory, but rather a fundamental need to be engaged in continuous warfare. Their obvious bias is never discussed, nor is any dissenting voice ever given a mic. You won't hear Medea Benjamin or Scott Ritter or Vladimir Putin on NPR. Somebody might ask in what cause U.S. soldiers were sacrificed in Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, and Libya. Somebody might suggest that proponents of war also profit from it. One impression you get from NPR's acceptance of war as a legitimate tool of politics is that there is no social force in opposition to war. The millions who follow Code Pink, Veterans for Peace, and 100 other dissenting organizations might shake your impression if only there were a way for them to be heard. There isn't. The mass media are now populated with a useless residue of disc jockeys and beauty contest winners, all that's left after the purge of reporters who refuse to interview hip-hop stars. These neo-journalists are told which people to talk to and what to say about them, and they're paid to do just that. People like that aren't noted for critical thinking. You can choose to believe NPR when you're told that Russian troops are amassed at the Ukrainian border, or you can demand evidence to support this assertion. You may be referred to some aerial photographs of Russian installations 100 miles away, or to reports from Ukrainian authorities, and you might recall, as you decide whether to credit NPR, that these are the same reporters who told you that Iraq had nuclear weapons and that 3 skyscrapers fell down in New York because 2 got hit by airplanes. If we do end up exchanging hydrogen bombs with Russia, you'll have a fair idea, if you survive long enough, to know who's to blame. I'm Steve Fournier. This is Current Invective.